Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report post-game live show here on the Built in Buffalo YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter networks. Brought to you by PLB Sports and Entertainment, the makers of Josh's Jacks, the Dick's 14 line of hot sauces, and the JA 17 line of coffee. Please, everybody, enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report right here on the Built in Buffalo YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter channels or accounts or whatever you want to call them. This is the post-game show for the Buffalo Bills at the Philadelphia Eagles. Our bye week is next week, and we are here to discuss this excellent game. Honestly, it was if you weren't a Bills or an Eagles fan, this was an excellent game. It was good, to watch. There were definitely a lot of questionable happenings within the game. We're going to discuss all that. There's a silver lining, and then there's a good, and then there's a bad. That comes from this. There's good news and bad news. And I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is the Bills just lost a game that they should have won. They should have had one in regulation, and then they should have won it again in overtime. But they failed to do that. In regulation, they had to stop. At the end of the game, forcing them to kick a 60-yard field goal, and they made it. Right? Now, that's not even a thing if Tyler Bass doesn't miss his field goal, and that's not even a thing if, we don't allow them to get that far up the field, which still should have been far enough within those weather conditions for them to not be able to make that field goal, but they made it. And so now here we are, 6-6 on the season. And, we really can't afford to lose another game. We should have won this game. We had this game in the bag. We fumbled it away. Not literally, because there wasn't a fumble in the game for us. But with all the terrible referee calls, and I don't ever like to use that as an excuse because it's tired and, a lot of teams use that. Dolphins fans especially say it a lot. We all know the refs suck, right? Terrible referees, they're part of the game. They're in this. We still should have won despite the terrible refereeing. If Gabe Davis is in tune with Josh Allen in that overtime play, we win this game. That was a walk-off touchdown. He went the wrong way. Is it because, he didn't realize there was an all-out blitz coming, and so he, went with the route that he read? Or was it just Josh Allen not seeing what he saw? That plays on both those guys. And yeah, it's a hard one to swallow, but it is what it is, right? We all thought that we'd probably lose, one of these next 5 games, right? We're 6-6, so there's 5 more games left. We all thought that of these next 6, including this one today, that we're probably going to lose one. And this is the one that we could most afford to lose. That's the good news. This was the game that we could most afford to lose, right? It's an NFC game, so it means less than all the rest of them. The rest of them, we have the Dolphins, the Patriots. We've got the Chiefs, the Chargers. Those are all in-conference games. They mean more. So within the way that the season will, finish out, if we win the next 5, is possible. All beatable teams. You know, the Chiefs are beatable. The Dolphins are beatable. Clearly, we beat them 48-20. The Chargers are beatable. The Patriots obviously beatable. Like, there's so much that can happen, right? And as you can tell by my voice, you know, I'm not happy about the results of today's game. Today was a dumpster fire of a game on defense. The offense did their thing, and I'll rattle off some stats for you guys. We put up the box score here. Josh Allen was 29 of 51, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and then he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So 4 touchdowns and one turnover on the day for Josh Allen. I'll take 4 to 1 day any day of the week. Also, another 81 yards rushing on top of that 339, which means that Josh by himself put up 440 yards. Just Josh. Rushing today, the entire team put up 173. Okay. The Eagles put up 200 yards passing and 185 yards on the ground. We outgained them. Josh Allen by himself outgained them by like 60 yards. Gabe Davis had a nice day today, but, you know, when it really, really counted, him and Josh just weren't in sync. I don't want to dump on Gabe right now because this is one of his, 6 or 7 games a year where he shows up. He showed up today. You know, James Cook dropping that pass early in the game, that was one that was really a head scratcher. You know, when Josh hit him and he was streaking up the field and he just dropped it. And someone was trying to tell me that it was punched out. It wasn't punched out. It hit both of his hands and then it hit his face mask and it bounced out. And we fumbled away this game. We fumbled away this game and we should have won it. We should have won it. Eagles stats. Jalen Hurts, 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 80 yards. Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns, rushing, 65 yards on the ground. Kenneth Gainwell, 26 yards. Boston Scott, 14 yards. They had 5.8 yards per carry. We had 4.3. I mean, they had a big advantage in yards per rush, but we still were effective running the ball. On defense, the Bills had 2 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 5 passes defensed, and 1 QB hit. The Eagles had 1 sack, 4 tackles for a loss, 9 passes defended, and 4 QB hits. So defensively, similar game. We had 1 more sack than them and 1 more tackle for a loss. They had 9 more passes 4 more passes defensed, and we had 1 more. We had 1 more pass defended or 1 more tackle for loss. They had 4 more passes defended, and then they had 3 more QB hits. It is what it is, man. It's a game like this where you really miss Matt Milano. And I'm seeing in the comments, Pedro Martinez comment just came in. Dodson is effing trash. Dodson's been playing well for the most part until today. Today was a rough day for Tyrell Dodson. It was a rough day for Tyrell Dodson. There was a lot of miscues, but to me, the referees did cost us on some crucial downs, like the Josh Allen horse collar tackle that wasn't called, but they called intentional grounding. And the announcers are sitting like, Gabe Davis is 2 yards away. What are they talking about? There's no receiver in the area. What are they talking about? Like, the announcers called out all the BS penalties that happened. And again, you can't blame the refs, right? They're trash, and we already knew it. We always knew it. So we were fighting, with our backs pinned against the walls, and the Eagles didn't have any penalties called against them, except for 1 in the first 3 quarters. And then for some reason, they started to show up. The referees started to show up and call penalties on them. And it was kind of embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing at the product that the NFL is putting out there. And the Dolphins fans, they said it. Like, where do you guys play them? And the referees screw you guys too. You know what? They were right. They were right. But you know what? I cannot hang my hat on that because the refs are trash, and we know it. They are. The XFL and USFL have better officiating than the NFL. They do. I don't know if any of you guys watch the USFL, the XFL. They have an automatic process that runs in the background where a head official is up in the booth and he calls in and tells them, hey, nope, that was pass interference. Or, hey, nope, that wasn't pass interference. That was a clean hit. They have a guy dedicated in every game that they play that watches every single thing that happens and calls down to change the play or change the call if the wrong call was made. The NFL needs to really look into this because it's trash. It's trash. Easy, do you think the NFL is rigged? I do not think that the NFL is rigged from a storyline perspective. So when I say this, I mean that I don't think that they go out there and say, all right, well, you guys are going to have this nail-biter of a game. If it's rigged at all, it's by the referees. It's by the referees. And they really need to fix that. The referees, if there's any way that they're doing it, it's these bullshit calls that are coming in all the time. And I don't know what the deal is with it. Hang on, I got a bunch of comments here. You guys are awesome. All right, so I'm going up to the top. We got a $10 super chat. Who's that? Brooke. Let's see. That just came in, I think. Takes priority, guys. Sorry. All right. It's been a rough season to say the least. Bad years happen, and I think this is what this year is. The refs were freaking awful. I'm so ready for the season to be done. Next season will be better. Look, I'm not punting on this season just yet, Brooke. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for tuning in. You know, we love you here at Built in Buffalo. You've been around with us for a while, so yeah, thank you so much. So after the show started, are the Bills' hopes for the playoffs alive? Yeah, they are, but it's going to take some freaking work. It's going to take some work and possibly some teams screwing up. But, you know, these teams are going to play each other too, so we'll get there. I think we would have to win out. Most likely the case. See, I'm so pissed right now, I could punch my monitor. Don't do that, right? Don't waste your money. Jacob, Eagles cheated. They didn't cheat. The referees did. I can't blame the Eagles for doing what they did. When there were some calls that went our way, you know, I was excited too. So it is what it is. Hey, Izzy, big up the panel and chat. There we go. Hey, we just can't close a freaking game. Look, yeah, I can't. I don't have an argument for that. Brooke again here. Also, it's been a long time since I was able to watch. I've had to watch replays recently. School is crazy. Almost done with school though. Freedom is near. Yeah, and you go to RIT, so that's a tough school to go to. You know, that's one of the big ones, one of the big STEM schools. So big up to you and keep them grades up. All right. Let's see. Because they are held accountable on live TV. Yes. So the announcers call the referees out for their mistakes, and they did take a big part in this game. But still, you know, the team needs to step up and take the bull by the horns at that point. And it was hard to watch at times. You know, we had the lead, they scored, they get within 3, then we scored, and we take it up by 10 again, and then they score and bring it back to a 3-point lead for us, and then, you know, Josh throws the interception. Can't have that. Like we can't have that interception, Josh. He still gave us 4 touchdowns though, right? So, you know, there was no quit. The team didn't quit. But I don't know, man. You know, like this. Part of me is super upset that we lost this game because we should have won it, right? And I know that is on 100% of your guys' mind. We should have won this game. Like, we went out there, and the way that this team played, they should have won this game. It shouldn't have gone, you know, the way it did. If Josh doesn't throw that pick, or if the refs don't call that call, you know, with the intentional grounding that didn't exist. If those things don't happen, in a perfect world, the Bills win this game. The Bills showed that they can go toe-to-toe with the now 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who were the NFC champions last year, went to the Super Bowl and were within 3 points of winning the Super Bowl last year. And those same Eagles, basically the same team, most of that team is still there from last year. Bradbury came back. Slay came back. They went and got Byard from the Titans. Their linebackers aren't exactly the same, but still, that's basically the same team. And the Bills went toe-to-toe with them. I'm looking for whatever silver lining I can because next week's the bye week, and we're going into it with a loss. However, McDermott's also undefeated coming off of a bye. So, there's that. And we're playing in Kansas City, and they don't look great. So maybe we go out there and we slap them, and if we can win out, we may even still have hope for the division. But I don't see that happening. I see us taking second in the division and getting a wild card slot, and I hope that we play Miami first because I think we'll kick their ass. But it is what it is. JP says moral victories don't get you to the playoffs. I agree. They don't. And I'm not looking for a moral victory here. What I'm saying is that we went toe-to-toe with the conference champions last year from the NFC. That's not a victory at all. That's not a moral thing. That is just the fact that we went out there, we hung 34 on them, and we just came up short. In games like this, you truly miss your stars that are missing. You truly miss Daquan Jones on the line. You truly miss Matt Milano at linebacker. You truly miss Tre'Davious White on the outside. Rasul Douglas didn't look as good this week as he has in weeks past. There were times out there he looked lost. Maybe his newness to the team showed up when you finally play a contender that's worth their weight in salt. When you play somebody who's actually worthy of the title, potential Super Bowl champion, maybe that newness showed up. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. The Bills, they had no real reason to lose that game. None. And it happens. It happens. Let's look at the comments here. Tactical Keith. All right. Us playing this way and maybe not going playoffs really bothers me. Look, it bothers a lot of us, man. It took us a long time to fire Dorsey, and we finally did. The offense took off. Let's just hope this offense continues to do what it's doing, because as of right now, the offense looks good. The offense looks good. This team is only one thing: inconsistent. Doesn't matter if we hung with the Eagles at this point, our season is over. Yeah, I'm not rolling with the season's over, because it's not. It's not. We went 7-6 that one year, and we ended up 11-6 in 2021. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And in most of these seasons, we end up putting a late season, winning streak. So we'll see. We'll see. If we lose next week, I might have to concede that. Or not next week, but the week after. 1,000% this was all BS. Ref that made us lose this game. We did everything right. We had calls against us, but no calls were called on them for at least the first half. Come on. I agree with everything you said there, but we all know the refs suck. We can't use that excuse. I won't give that excuse to anybody else. When the Dolphins played the Eagles, they lost to them 31-17, right? And all the Dolphins kept saying was, Dolphins fans kept saying was, well, the referee's this and the referee's that and the referee's this and the referee's that. And we would have won that game if it wasn't. You guys lost by 2 scores, right? The Dolphins lost 31-17. That's 2 old touchdowns. The Bills lost by 4 or 3 in overtime. We are not the same. Granted, the Dolphins have a better record than us. So there's that. There's that. So give and take, I guess. But yeah, the referees are terrible. And I'm not giving that excuse to anybody else, so I can't take it for myself. That's just how I roll. See, why the hell aren't we playing KC at home? Like, seriously, for the past few years, we've had to go to KC. They come to Buffalo once, and it was during COVID. Come to Buffalo with fans in the stands. I don't understand that either, Brooke. I think it has to do with the fact that we're not playing, or this year we're playing their division. So we're playing the Raiders, them. And so every 3 years, that flip-flops, right? So 3 years ago, they played us in COVID, right? Since then, we've both been winning the division every year. And because of the way the scheduling formula works, that's just how it goes. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's the way the shoe drops on that. But, yeah, I don't like it either. All right. And now My co-host is able to join us now today, the co-founder of Built in Buffalo, and my good friend Akeem Riches. Rich, welcome to the show, boss.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? What's going on, Izzy?
Discussing this shit show of a game.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, right? It's heartbreaking to lose in another fashion where it's heartbreaking and gut wrenching and it's exhausting. It's exhausting for the different type of ways us as fans have to endure Buffalo Bills losses. And that is, that is the frustrating part. Again, as good as the Philadelphia Eagles are, we were in position to win this game. We had many opportunities to win this game. We dominated time of possession, 40 minutes to 26. We dominated total yards, passing yards. We didn't make enough impact plays when those big moments needed to be made, and we made too many big mistakes. And they was able to capitalize. They was able to execute, and you can't throw an interception at that point when they have momentum. Momentum is a real thing in sports, and when a team has that momentum, especially an exceptional team at home, it could be tough to overcome. And that was a momentum swinging, game changing type of play. And the 3rd and 15, another momentum swinging, game changing kind of play. You missing 2 field goals. They hit a 59-yard field goal. When you think you do everything right, when you had excellent plays by individuals being made by Ed Oliver, and guys are in position, and you think you got these guys, they execute in the type of conditions, a 59-yard field goal, and it's always the Buffalo Bills that's on the opposite ends of these type of losses. And for a fan, as a fan, I apologize. I don't know how long you've been going through this. I've been going through this for 30 plus years, and I'm emotionally hurt and exhausted at the moment.
You're very good at hiding that. You're very good at not showing that you're emotionally hurt. It's like a Lil Wayne line, just to keep from crying, I laughed. It's kind of, just it is heartbreaking. You're 100% correct about that. And here's a comment for you. Props to you guys. I'm not sure I could do these shows after losses like this. Dude, you have no idea. This is hard. Like, emotionally, I am at 11. Like, if you could turn that dial to 10, I broke the dial. I'm at 11 right now, and I'm still going up. It's still going up because this game should have been ours. We should have won this game. The James Cook pass where he dropped the ball, one. The freaking interception where Josh, threw it to James Bradbury, 2. The Gabe Davis play at the end where he zigged when he should have zagged, 3. Dropped passes. Why the hell is Sherfield on my field right now?
At these moments,
why are you taking Diggs off the field for Sherfield? What the fuck are you doing?
I didn't get it either, and it cost us. And we looked to that position when we took the best player out, and he was the focal point, and it really affected those plays. And I don't, it's a lot of things we can discuss in terms of mistakes being made. The Buffalo Bills absolutely should have won this game, but again, when you make mistakes, how many years are we going to talk about Sean McDermott making mistakes and playing undisciplined football? How many years are Sean McDermott led teams going to play this undisciplined style of football? Now, I can understand if it's a couple of games or if it's a season, but ever since Sean McDermott has taken over for the Buffalo Bills, this team has had a big problem with disciplined football. And when there's a problem, that is now a coaching issue. And I look to Sean McDermott like, what are we doing? What are we teaching? What are we thinking about? What is the mental focal point, the mental aspect of the game that this coach is lacking, that we constantly have these issues year in and year out? Because this is honestly not surprising to me. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe the Buffalo Bills committed all these penalties. I'm used to these type of penalties. And this is another thing that has become exhausting. And now we have to look at why. When you have the extensive background or the extensive footage that we have from a coaching aspect, we have to put some blame or a lot of blame into Sean McDermott. And once again, I understand plays wasn't made, James Cook, and penalties were ridiculous at times. But there's another game. This is another game where Sean McDermott one-score game, and the game is in the balance, and the other coach happens to come on top. It's always the other coach, and it's always the other team executing the perfect play at the perfect time, making this the biggest play against the Buffalo Bills. And that has to be an indictment on Sean McDermott.
Look, everything about this team is Sean McDermott. That's just the way it is. He's the head coach. So every aspect of this team is you. You're the head coach. So when you're the head coach, you take blame for everything and you get credit for everything, just like the quarterback on offense, right? Josh Allen takes all the blame, and he also takes all the the glory. That's just how the game works. Penalties today were pretty atrocious. They were pretty bad. They were nonsensical, at least. Especially the horse collar that they missed, where they damn near ripped Josh Allen's jersey off. A lot of them were egregious. But we already know that the referees suck. Like, we know that they suck. We know they suck. So
they're really starting to blow games now. This is becoming a trend, a global problem now, because us as Buffalo Bills fans, we're the last ones to go through it, and we're seeing and witnessing it. But there's all 31, 32 teams of fan bases that can talk about the horrible officiating. There was obvious pass interferences out there as well.
Yeah, not the Eagles.
Diggs out there, that was a pass interference. There were obvious calls missed, and it seems as if every call was made against the Buffalo Bills. They caught everything. And I'm not saying the Buffalo Bills didn't commit those penalties. I think one holding call was but for the most part, the Bills did commit some penalties. And okay, and if they do, throw that flag, but throw the flag both ways. And now it's getting a little outrageous on the blatant missed calls that is happening now, and it's upsetting to watch as an NFL fan.
And so the penalties that you're talking about that they did commit, they had Oliver hands to the face. That's a penalty. That's discipline. That's on McDermott. The two was it not offsides? It's the offensive version of that, basically. Not delay a game. What the hell is it? It just slipped my mind right now because I'm so frustrated with how this game went.
We had the tush push penalty. The tush push penalty on Jordan Phillips. He's always trying to get a big jump. If Jordan put, that's another guy.
I'm fed up with Jordan Phillips, but I like the attitude. I like the attitude that he had on that play.
Costing us plays.
He did, but they were going to get the tush push anyway. So his idea was, I'm going to try and jump the snap count and try and get there before he can get there. I don't like the penalty. I don't like that he committed a penalty, but I do love the attitude that he had on that play. Like, I get that one. That is definitely one of the penalties, And then the two on the tackles, Deion Dawkins, and he had two by himself. Spencer Brown had one. Mitch Morse had one. Like, it was mostly offensive line penalties that I could say, yeah, I agree with that. And then the Phillips and the Oliver one. Most of the other ones, some bullshit. There was some bullshit. But you know what? I'm a comment right here. Another L, plain and simple. No, it's pain and simple. It's pain and simple. It hurts. It hurts. But again, we know the refs blow. They suck. They're horrible. And we still should have won the damn game, and we didn't. because of execution at times and soft coverage. I get that.
The Buffalo Bills, and I praised Sean McDermott early in the first half. The second half in overtime, the Buffalo Bills gave up 30 points. 30 points in the second half.
And OT, yeah.
30 points.
Can't have
it. And if you have a defensive guru as your head coach, that is unacceptable. You cannot have that. We made changes. The offense, now granted, I do believe you got the ball first. You have to go out there. You have to win the game. You can't leave it. You can't leave it in the defense hands. You can't leave it up to. We've seen these results in Kansas City years ago. When the offense, you have the ball in overtime, in my opinion, you got to go and finish the game. I understand people want to say, hey, you're 400 yards and over 30 points. Those games are forgettable in losses. Those games are only remembered in wins. And it's 60 minutes of football. You have a chance to execute. You have to execute, because guess what? Philadelphia executed when they were supposed to. Philadelphia scored a touchdown. We couldn't even hold them to a field goal. They came right down the field and scored a touchdown. So us as an offense, we definitely have to come out in big situations and big moments and finish the game. But giving up 30 points on the defensive side of the ball when you have a defensive-minded coach in a half, excuse me, when you give up those amount of points in a half, that's inexcusable. And
here's another point to you, Rich. I don't care if you're a defensive guru or not. If your offense puts up 34 freaking points, you should win the game. You should win the game. Your quarterback puts up 4 touchdowns, you should win the game. Yeah, you should win the damn game. But and you know what? You can make the same argument with the Eagles. You can make the same argument with the Eagles. The Eagles said, their quarterback put up 5 touchdowns. Okay, cool. But both of these defenses didn't look really that good today. They both look kind of mid. But you're the guru, McDermott. You're that guy. 30 points and a half is unacceptable. It is. This was a dud of a game. And for most of the season, we've been saying, the offense. Well, today it wasn't the offense. There were some offensive mistakes that tilted it in Philly's way later, but you're not wrong. You're 100% correct. You cannot have your team allow 30 points in the second half and overtime. It's unruly. And look, I'm seeing the comments. Penalties changed the game, period. They did. They absolutely did. Cannot deny that the penalties were a big part of this game, and they shouldn't have been. But, we knew that coming in to play the Eagles, that they seemed to be having a little bit of favor with the refs. Did Vaughn play? Yes, Vaughn played. Vaughn actually played a decent game today. He didn't get any sacks. I think he had like 2 tackles or something like that. He impacted Jalen Hurts. He had been pushing that left tackle into Jalen Hurts' lap, and that forced a lot of the scrambles, and the 2 sacks were mostly forced because that left side of the offensive line was collapsing, and Jalen had to move, and so Vaughn was a big part of that. But other than that, yeah, he wasn't a very big impact on the game. Joe Brady has done a wonderful job. Look, I'm not disagreeing with that either. Joe Brady did a wonderful job today. He called a good game. There were a couple of plays here and there that you can complain about. Taking out Diggs and putting in Sherfield, I'm going to complain about. He cost me $150 because he didn't run James Cook enough. I'm pissed about that too. Like, if you look at the end of the game, when the Bills scored that touchdown, right before the Eagles came back, kicked the field goal, I was like, James Cook needs 6 yards to get me my $150. Just run him. Run the 9. Give him one shot. He gave him one shot. He got 3 yards, right? I'm like, you know what? Screw the money. Just go win the damn game. They scored a touchdown, and then they kicked that miraculous field goal, and here we are. I didn't get my money, nor did I get the win. I lost twice tonight. I had a parlay. Mahomes came through for me. CJ Stroud came through for me. Freaking Khalil Shakir came through for me. I just needed James Cook. I don't understand a lot of the players that they're putting out there, and I don't know if the personnel on the offensive play is on McDermott or if it's on Brady, because I've seen in comments people like McDermott should have took Diggs out. I doubt that McDermott did that because McDermott's not calling the offensive plays, and so it is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, we got some Eagles fans in here. We're not crying, but good for you, buddy. Good game.
I hate that.
At least
Especially
we can
games
be.
when you should win. I hate stuff like that. Eagle, he want to come in here, he want to talk. All right, I get it. You got the W. Good game.
I mean, we know Eagles are assholes. Eagles fans are assholes.
Yeah, good
part,
game.
so.
Good game, man.
They got the reputation for that. So
I'm not upset at how Joe Brady called the game. He ran the ball over 40 times. I saw an identity. He kept the defense honest. Of course, there are a couple of plays we could gripe out. I think every offensive coordinator or every fan of every team can gripe at some plays of their offensive coordinator. We don't like the substitution with Diggs and Sherfield, especially if Sherfield is the focal point of the offensive play at that time. If he's not the focal point, if we're going somewhere else with it, and it's more like a spell, I can understand it. But if he's subbing in and he's more of the focal point of the play, then I have a problem with that. And it looked like he was the focal point of a play or two out there in some of those substitutions and third downs. But for the most part, I like what I saw on the offensive side of the ball from Joe Brady and the Buffalo Bills. A lot of those mistakes, once again, undisciplined football, player-oriented mistakes with the James Cook dropping the ball in the beginning of the game. So some things individuals have to clean up and we have to perform better. Josh Allen cannot throw that interception at that time. And, certain things cannot happen. And I think those are plays where we all can see and understand, in my opinion, that those are individual mistakes as opposed of Joe Brady kind of mistakes or things of that nature. So I like how he called the game today.
Yeah, I agree. And, the one thing I really liked was that they elevated Isabella to take over the kick return duties, and they sat Hardy because that means that I didn't have to sit here and watch Hardy not catch passes. Like he didn't even get a chance to trot it on the field. And again, this is not a knock on Hardy as a player because I'm sure in some offenses he might be that guy, but here he's not. I didn't see Isabella out there on offense much. Should he have been? I don't know. The offense played pretty well.
I like what I saw from Khalil Shakir. I think he should be on the field. Stephon Diggs should be on the field. I don't know why we taking him off the field. Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, those guys should be on the field, especially in big moments. And Khalil Shakir is a willing blocker as well. They used him in a lot of block concepts, and I've seen him come out successful. So I really like what I see in his game, and I think he should definitely be involved more in the offense.
I agree. And here's the thing. If you're going to take Diggs off the field, don't do it on third down. Do it on first down. If everybody knows you're going to run the ball anyway, take Diggs off and put Sherfield in on first down. So that way you can just run the ball like everybody knows you're going to do anyway. At first down, clearly that's what we're doing. We're trying to establish the run, right? Take Diggs off on that play. On third down, when you need a catch, you don't take your best receiving weapon off the field. That's my one complaint about this game when it comes to Brady is that. Outside of that, running the ball down their throat, I loved it. I loved it in the fourth quarter when we took all that time off the clock and we just ran it right down their damn throat. That was beautiful to me. But, sometimes the football bounce is funny, as it tends to do.
And once again, the reoccurring theme about the Buffalo Bills, we talk about, I say about Ken Dorsey, Ken Dorsey's no longer on this team, right? So it's this current coaching staff and this current regime that played against the Philadelphia Eagles, and once again, they found a way to lose this game. right? There's no
Sadly, yes.
there's no. I apologize here. My son just gave me it, kind of threw me off. There's no scapegoat in this game. There's no Ken Dorsey to run to. There is Sean McDermott giving up the amount of points he gave up in the second half is something that he can't blame anybody but himself, right? There is no reason why DeAndre Swift should have 4.7 yards per carry. Kenneth Gainwell have 13 yards per carry on 2 runs. Jalen Hurts almost 5 yards per carry, right? Once again, a team makes adjustments on the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills fail to readjust in time to win the ball game. There is something that they saw at halftime at some point that says, you know what? We can be successful running this ball. And once they found that success running the ball, they was able to open up the rest of the Buffalo Bills defense, and they exposed them for the duration of the game. And the Buffalo Bills was now able to make those necessary readjustments on the defensive side of the ball to win this game. And I think that's something that Ken Dorsey, we talked about, struggle with making adjustments on adjustments made on him. And I think it's not just Ken Dorsey. Sean McDermott suffers from that as well.
Yeah, definitely at times he does. I mean, there are times where Sean McDermott calls masterful games, and it goes that way the whole game. And there's some times where, a team like the Eagles, again, who were the NFC champions last year, who are a very, very, very good team. They're the best team in the NFL right now. And as Denny Green once said, we let them off the hook. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook because we had them. And then they got us. So it's like, like that guy, that State Farm commercial, you got to be quicker than that, holding a freaking dollar in front of us, and we're sitting there. They got us. They got us. And you know what? Good job to the Eagles. Good job to them. But we did have a question up here, and the question was, is there still hope for the season? And I answered this earlier in the show when you weren't here. The answer is yes. Like, the rest of our games are winnable. Like, they're not the rest of these games aren't the Eagles. The Chiefs, they're a good team. Their offensive weapons are not what the Eagles have. So I don't expect the same type of meltdown from the Bills defense against the Chiefs wide receivers that I saw today against the Eagles, who have outstanding wide receivers. Then we got the Chargers. Their defense is garbage, and their receivers are old and slow. Then we have the Patriots. We shouldn't have lost them in the first place, but here we are going against them again. And we have the Dolphins, which I'm not even going to talk about the Dolphins yet because we expect to beat the Dolphins. That's not even a thing. No matter how good they are, we expect to beat them. That's not even an accomplishment for us. And then there's one more game in there that I'm missing. We got the Chiefs. We got the Chargers. We got the Cowboys. There we go, Cowboys. Mm-hmm. So the Cowboys game is probably the hardest one left on our schedule. That's the hardest one left on our schedule.
Well, I can't even go by that anymore with this Buffalo Bills team. I can no longer look at the schedule and look at a team and say, hey, this team is hard. We should beat this team. It's teams on the schedule where we should have beat and we did not beat. We should have beat the New England Patriots. There's no excuse why we lost to the New England Patriots. We should have beat the New York Jets. We should not have come down to a one play at the 1 yard line against the New York Giants. So in my opinion, because I've seen those type of things, it throws everything out the window about the schedule and who we face. But it is teams that are playoff teams at the end of the day.
I understand your sentiment on that, but most of that was pre-Dorsey firing. Since Dorsey got fired, the offense is putting up 30 points a game. I'm separating.
We have to win out. In my opinion, we would have to win out. 10-7 because of the conference schedule. I don't know if 10-7 would get the Buffalo Bills in. I'm thinking we have to win out.
We do also know that the rest of the conference is going to be playing each other too. So there's a lot more things that go into 10-7 is the bare minimum we need to even have a shot to get in. If we win out, I'm pretty sure we do get in. To me, the Cowboys game is the toughest one. They have a good defense and they have a good offense. Granted, they got smacked by the Eagles twice. That type of math don't work, though. Like just because someone beat you twice and this other team played that team better than you did, no, that don't matter. Ask the Dolphins. They don't matter. So we lost to the Jets and the Patriots, and then we smacked the Dolphins. So that type of math doesn't add up. But if I'm looking at it from a clear-minded perspective, the one game that gives me kind of pause is the Cowboys game. The rest of them are winnable. They're losable too. Don't get it twisted. They're losable games. You can lose to anybody. We lost to the Jaguars that one year. They had Urban Meyer. We lost to Urban Meyer's Jaguars. So shit happens, but yeah. Oh, there you go. There's a comment. You look like you're sick of it too. Akeem is definitely sick of it. I'm sick of it. I have a little bit more of faith, we'll say. I have a little more faith as of now than Akeem does. But don't get it twisted. That's kind of teetering a little bit. They need to fix this shit.
The next game, we got a bye week. Hopefully, we could regroup, get some guys healthy. Taylor Rapp, Dane Jackson, Dawson Knox, and that can help us progress as a football team. The Kansas City Chiefs, another tough team. They're 8-3. They're another team that I like the Philadelphia Eagles. This was last year's Philadelphia Eagle team is better than this year's Philadelphia Eagle team, right? But
by the eye test, yes.
But they still find ways to win. And I think Kansas City, we could talk about, they don't got receivers and they struggle here, struggle there, but they're 8-3. They're still finding ways to win. So this is another tough opponent, and I'm thinking this is must-win territory for the Buffalo Bills. So hopefully the Buffalo Bills can regroup and get ready to play a tough Kansas City Chiefs team in Arrowhead Stadium, and hopefully we can come out on top.
Yeah, hopefully this team can pull their heads out of their ass and figure out what the hell's going wrong, because, like you said before, it's unacceptable. Like we should be winning these games and we're losing them. Like we should have beat the Jaguars. As of now, with the way these games have been played, the Bills should probably be undefeated right now. Should be, but we're not. We're 500, which is fucking sad. Every game was winnable.
If we were who I thought we were, and there's no question we should be undefeated. There's no question. Every game was winnable. Every game, in my opinion, was winnable for the Buffalo Bills. And things happen. We are who our record says we are, and we'll see if we can get on a roll and make the playoffs. Otherwise, there's going to be some tougher decisions ahead. It's a lot on the line. Playoffs on the line. People's jobs on the line. Will Joe Brady remain the offensive coordinator? Are we going to look elsewhere outside the organization? Will Sean McDermott continue to call plays? Who stays? Who goes? Though there's a lot of things that may or may not happen depending on the results for the rest of the season. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Birds fan here checking in. Good game. Hey, there we go. We got a nice Eagles fan. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Good game, man. That was a good game.
It was a hell of a game. Look, if you were not a Bills or Eagles fan, if you're an Eagles fan, you loved it. If you're a Bills fan, you hated it. But if you were somebody else just watching to enjoy a football game, it was a good-ass game. So just like that 13-second game we had. It was a good-ass game, but we didn't come out on top on that one either. So it is what it is. But when you look back on the season, the Jets game, it came down to that perfect catch, because it wasn't a perfect throw by Garrett Wilson against Tre'Davious White in the end zone. That Trey hits it, bounces back to himself. We should have won that game. You then look at the Jaguars game. We lose by 5. We play like garbage. We lose half our defense in that game. Still should have won that game. The Patriots game. Come on, man. We took the lead and then we let him drive on the field on us. Get the fuck out of here, right? That's terrible, terrible, terrible. We lose to Denver. Okay.
Inexcusable, man.
Okay. All right. We lose to Denver. Like,
don't forget Cincinnati before then.
yeah, and Cincinnati, yeah, we should have won that game too.
We should have won that game too. Definitely.
But what happened? You know, freaking.
Yeah.
We had Von Miller out there in contain, knowing full well that this guy's not ready to be back fully yet. Should have been Shaq Lawson on the field there, who can contain the run. That's like the only thing he's good at is containing the run. And you put the best pass rusher on a team who's not even fully ready to be pass rushing yet. You know, like my man says Von's playing like he's old. Von's not playing like he's old. He's playing like he's less than 12 months away from an ACL tear. If he was 28 and he tore his ACL less than 12 months ago, that's what it is. We're losing games in ways that great teams don't lose them. So we're not a great team. We're not a great team. We're losing to bums at times. We're losing to absolute bums. And now we lost this team by 3. And it's like, all right. No.
We're losing the Buffalo. All right. We talk about the schedule. The Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, 22-16. That's 6 points. Jacksonville Jaguars 25-20, that's another 4. 29-25 to the Patriots, 24-18 to the Bengals, 22-24 to the Broncos, and 37-34. The Buffalo Bills have lost 6 games by a combined 26 points. So every loss, they're in every game. And when the game is in the balance, the other team, no matter who the other team is, more times than not, is coming up with the victory. And that's a coaching problem, in my opinion. That's a coaching issue. When the game is in the balance and you're losing in these type of fashions, and you're losing in these one-score games constantly, where situational football matters close in the game, right? Where impact plays matter close in the game, I think I think that stems on coaching. It's an obvious theme with the Buffalo Bills losses. And the only problem I could equate to that theme is coaching. And once again, that goes back to Sean McDermott. I don't know if you agree, but that's
I agree. And here, I don't think McDermott's going to get fired this year. I don't. And I personally don't think he should get fired this year. You know, sometimes a good coach has a bad year. That just happens, right? This will be his first bad year since 2018. That'd be it. And 2018 was expected. $55 million in dead cap. You know, you're coming off that playoff appearance that you did not expect to have with Tyrod Taylor. You know, then you have to blow everything up because you only have so much cap space, and $55 million of it is already out the damn door. So then you put together 4 good seasons, playoff seasons, and now you're having a bad year. So he won't be fired this year. I almost guarantee it. Unless we lose out, he's likely not being fired after this year.
Now, I want to touch on this right quick because you know what? I do think a lot of it is coaching, but if we're talking about players right quick, Josh Allen doesn't get a pass. I think Josh Allen, I think he's played an exceptional game today, but big moments, key situations, you cannot have that turnover. 8 straight games with an interception for the type of talent you are. And the physical tools and the IQ you possess and at the quarterback position, for you to have an interception 8 straight games is an issue, and it's a problem. And I don't know what he's seeing out there where he's making some of his mistakes. So it's like, dude, you can't throw that ball right there, dude. You can't throw that ball. And when he makes those mistakes, it seems as if he doesn't see. He has no idea that defender that's making the play is even there. So in my opinion, he's locked on. he's just locked on. I don't know if it's premeditated, but he's locked on to the point where he doesn't see or have the awareness to see that there is other defenders around him, and it's become constant. And I think that he has to play better in situations and in moments where we need him to play his best ball.
All right. Yeah, I agree there. And I'm going to break down Josh Allen a little bit further than that in just a second. But he peaked in 2021. I don't understand how you would believe that when the 2 years after that he had a higher win total. I don't understand how you'd believe that. He went to the AFC Championship that year. We played a Ravens team that was not great. And in the playoffs, we also beat the hell out of a Patriots team that had no business being in the playoffs. They were there because we let them in. No, I disagree with this wholeheartedly, right? 11 wins, then you go 13 wins. No.
What does that mean, though? Does that mean because you win 13 games, I mean, that could be remained status quo. That doesn't mean that they passed what they did in 2021.
What I'm saying is that those seasons were better seasons than 2021. Maybe not better postseasons per se, but if you look at who you played and when you played them in the postseason, the 2021 we played the Ravens in the second round of those playoffs. The Ravens weren't nobody really that year. Then we played the Chiefs in the championship game, and we got destroyed 42-17 or some shit like that. Then the next year, we went back to the playoffs. We smashed the Patriots, right? Or I forget who we played first that year. We smashed them. I think it was the Patriots in 2022, right? No, it was the Dolphins. Because we're in 2023 right now. So we smashed the Dolphins, or we beat the Dolphins, then we go to KC. We lose by 3, we lose by 6 in overtime. Last year, we see the Bengals, who had just gone to a Super Bowl. Like, we're not losing. We're not going to the playoffs and playing all the same teams or playing bums until we get to the championship game. That's not how it works. We played better teams later on earlier in those playoffs. That's just the way that kind of works. Sometimes you get luck of the draw and you see, the best team later, and sometimes you see them earlier. And sometimes that team goes on to win a Super Bowl or at least get there. So 2021 to me was not the peak because
now
we were like the 4th seed that year.
Now I'm gonna say something. Now, as far as Seth, talk about don't know suffering. I've been a Buffalo Bills fan for 32 years. I've seen it. I've seen every season for the past 32 seasons, and I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So this, if any statement is inaccurate, is definitely this one. But moving on, yeah, Izzy.
Oh, so yeah. I was gonna get on Josh Allen for a second, right?
Okay, go ahead, and then I want to kind of combat what you said, but go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. Josh Allen this year. This is his first 3. Well, no, excuse me. Last week against the Jets was his first 3 touchdown pass game since week 4. Today he threw 2. Every other game before that, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Interceptions in all of those games, going back to week 4. The weeks before that, against the Commanders, which was 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Against the Raiders, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then before that, the Jets, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He's been all over the place this whole year until Joe Brady took over. Last 2 games, 1 interception each. Last week, he had 4 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 3 passing. And then this week, he had 2 and 2. Seems to be getting stabilized at this point in time. However, the inconsistencies of Josh Allen this year are not to be excluded from the problems of the Bills. And if the only excuse that you're going to give him because of Ken Dorsey is energy, you can kiss my ass. Okay? I understand that Dorsey and Brady are 2 different people, and one brings better vibes, and that's cool. I didn't see a lot of difference in the play calling per se from the 2 coaches. What I'm seeing is the way he's coaching it. Is that a difference? Yes, it is. But if that's the only difference, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about?
No.
The only difference really other than that is that Dorsey doesn't run the ball as much as Brady, which is also a good difference.
Yeah, we're going to see how Brady continues to expand the Buffalo Bills offense as the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. He has a bye week now. Maybe he can install some things that he like, or do some wrinkles that can help out the offense even more, even though they scored 30 plus points today in the bye week. But I want to get back right quick to that whole you disagreeing with the Buffalo Bills peaking in 2021. And this is why, in my opinion, I think that comment was accurate. Now, you disagree. I agree. I'm starting to think now that doesn't mean the Buffalo Bills can't run the table or be successful next year or win it next year. But I do believe the Buffalo Bills did peak in 2021. At that time, I'm not looking at seedings and wins for a minute. I'm looking at the time of events and what's going on. The Buffalo Bills were completely healthy in 2021 and had their players playing at the peak of their games. Micah Hyde.
Before you continue, the comment was that McDermott peaked in 2021.
I mean, the Bills.
The health of players is not on the coach.
The health of players is not on the coach, but what does that say about Sean McDermott? Does that say that because he doesn't prevent or have health to his side, he's not responsible to the success or the failures of the Buffalo Bills?
Yes, he is, which is why they won more games even after that, and they weren't as healthy.
Okay, so the peak is not about the head coach, but if we're talking about the team and he's leading the team, I think everything has to be part of the equation.
Exactly, I agree. But at the same time, I can't put health, something that is a factor that is not something he's in control of, on him. If Josh Allen got hurt tomorrow, would it be like it's McDermott's fault? No, you can't say that. That is not something that's a fair part of the equation.
It's hard for me to say that because it's football.
it is, but here's one point where I could say it would be a factor. Like, let's say it's the fourth quarter of a game, we're up 48-10, and there's 5 minutes left in the game, and you still got Josh Allen out there doing whatever, and Josh Allen gets hurt. 100% that's on the coach, because he shouldn't have even been there. He should have been on the sideline enjoying some Gatorade while his backup goes out there and takes whatever hits. That I can understand. But injuries, like Tre'Davious White goes down with an ACL tear, I can't blame McDermott for that.
It's part of the game.
It is, but I can't blame somebody who's not.
All right. So take Sean McDermott out the equation.
Injuries,
right? All right. No. I can't take injuries out the equation. I can't take injury. I take Sean McDermott.
The comment was about McDermott, though, so you can't take him out because he's the subject of the statement.
Okay, so he's the subject. So take him. Let's forget him. Me and you talking now.
Okay.
Did the Buffalo? Is it possible if we ask him that same question? Did the Buffalo Bills peak in 2021? Do you think the answer would be different because we took out McDermott? Did the Buffalo Bills peak in 2021?
That's a good fucking question. Damn. I still say no. If you're basing it solely on the fact that they got to the AFC Championship game and in the next 2 years they didn't, I think that there's a lot more factors that are being ignored. There's a lot more factors that are being ignored. Who they played, when they played them.
Those are unfortunate injuries that happen, right? But they are injuries that happen. Micah Hyde going down is an unfortunate injury. Jordan Poyer going down, Von Miller going down, Matt Milano. These are unfortunate injuries. In 2021, everybody was there.
They were. So if you're speaking from everything, including things that he couldn't control, then sure, I would agree with you.
And can we agree that that's 2021? Is possibly the best Josh Allen we've seen. Have we seen a better Josh Allen since 2021?
Since 2021, no, but we saw him before that in 2020.
But have we seen no?
We haven't.
Okay, so I think it's possible that the Bills have peaked.
This comment here, the roster peaked. We had the best roster in 2021, except for the offensive line. That offensive line was garbage.
I like that.
The offensive line was trash. It was so bad, and Josh had to be Superman.
Yeah, I like that. That's a real good comment. Let me put that back up there. The roster peak. Now, if the and okay, but there's when we
somebody else to talk about then.
There's
somebody else to fucking talk about that.
Then what's going on here? If the roster peak is somebody else to talk about, then
there is, and you know his name.
There's always somebody else to talk about.
No, but you know his name though. Go ahead, say his name.
Yeah, Brandon Beane, man.
Oh shit,
Brandon Beane. Brandon, if the roster has peaked, it's a Brandon Beane problem, and that's a whole nother discussion.
It is, and so they kind of went all in the last 3 years trying to do what they could. To be fair, all 3 years, 2021, 2022, and to an extent this year, they went all in to go get guys, and they've gotten good guys. They got Leonard Floyd this year. Excuse me. They went and got Taylor Rapp to be a safety who can be in there to help out. They went and got Linval Joseph to help out the defensive line. They went and got guys this year when they need to. They went and got Rasul Douglas, who's played well until today. But they're still going all in as much as they can. But next year, a lot of these guys that were the bell of the ball in 2017, 2020, 2018, 2019, those guys that are now past their shelf life, they're going to be gone next year. They're going to be gone. And they're going to have to do again what they did in 2019 to rebuild.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And again, I think the last 5 games are going to tell a lot to what's going to happen to the Buffalo Bills for again the rest of the season, going into the offseason, as far as future decisions being made in within the organization and of course the staff. There's going to be possibly a lot of moves internally and a lot of players being shuffled this offseason, and I don't know how much financial flexibility the Buffalo Bills may or may not have. So again, Josh Allen contract and things of that sort, they take account heavily. Von Miller, Tre'Davious White, Dawson Knox, those are one of a few of our higher paid players. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Buffalo Bills do in the offseason. They have a number of picks. We lost that 3rd round because of the acquisition of Douglas, but I think we want to get one back as a comp for Tremaine Edmonds. We should get a comp 3rd round pick for that. So we should have a plethora of picks this offseason going into the draft. So if Beane
we did get a pick back with Rasul Douglas, though. We got a fifth,
and we got a fifth. Yeah, we got a couple of fifths. We got a couple of 5th round picks, 6th round picks. We have all of our picks 1 through 6 and multiple picks within a mid to late round. So we definitely could improve if our scouting department can do a good job executing on drafting these young players next season. But I'm still focused on this season and how the Buffalo Bills can make this playoffs. I'm not sure if the AFC East is a thing right now. It's just about trying to get into the playoffs. Now falling 3 games back in the Miami Dolphins. They was talking about if the Buffalo Bills lose this game and a certain situation happen, we could fall as far as 10th place in the AFC. So
we are 10th right now.
I didn't envision sitting here today back in April looking at the standings with the Buffalo Bills logo emblem at the 10th position. So a little disappointed, but I think we still can control, if we can control what we can control and win these next 5 ball games, I still think we can get into the playoffs. Win out and we can get in. We put our back against the wall. It is what it is. But if we can win out, there's still a chance. 10-7 is going to be iffy, but it's possible as well. But then you're asking for a lot of help. I think right now, if we win out, we'll be fine.
So our guy AJ Cherry is throwing some zingers at us. Serious question: would you guys be mad if Belichick came to Buffalo next year? Could you imagine? It's not a dumb question, but no, or yes, I would be mad because Belichick hasn't been anything without Brady, and Josh is not Brady. Josh is really, really good. He's one of the top guys in the NFL right now. He's not Tom Brady. Not to mention that Bill Belichick is far too rigid of a coach. He wants things his way, in line. You do what the hell I say, or you won't play. That's not you. You don't have a quarterback built for that type of guy. You just don't. You have a quarterback who's built for, I'm going to improv this thing at times, and you might not like it sometimes, coach, but you get to live with it. And Bill Belichick's going to be like, no. So
now,
yes, I'd be upset. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Now, if I had to play opposite, right? If I had to play opposite of Izzy, I wouldn't say obviously that Sean McDermott should be relieved of his duties and replaced with Bill Belichick. I don't think that the Buffalo Bills will go that direction. I think a philosophy shift will be the direction of the Buffalo Bills, and Bill Belichick being a defensive-minded coach is the reason why the Buffalo Bills would not go that direction. They have a defensive-minded coach already, and I think the philosophy shift would be necessary for the Buffalo Bills. But in terms of just adding him as a head coach, I wouldn't necessarily oppose Bill Belichick. We're talking about a guy in New England that's head coach and GM. You didn't say him being the GM also. I would take the GM role, the GM duties off of Bill Belichick and make him become strictly a coach, because I know one thing. I believe
Does he go for that though?
I believe in these one-score games where situational football matters and coaching matters. I think Bill Belichick supersedes Sean McDermott in these type of situations. So,
on defense, yes. You're not as a defensive coach, you are not wrong. Bill Belichick is a defensive mastermind, but to me, he's too much of a control freak.
Yeah, he couldn't be our GM. He definitely couldn't be our GM.
And I don't think that he would come here as a coach without being able to be the GM. He's going to want to pick his players. And as a GM, he doesn't exactly have the best record of picking good players like that.
Right.
He just doesn't. Like he's got a kind of a record of. When Charlie was here, was built in Buffalo. Charlie TTP, remember Charlie, my original co-host of the Redzone Report.
Mm-hmm.
He broke this down, and he's one of the worst drafters in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I'm not for that, because I know that with Bill Belichick comes all that stuff. He's going to want to run the defense himself. He'll bring his son in here to help coach up a little bit, but he's the guy behind the defense, which is what Sean McDermott is doing now. And he's going to want some offensive coordinator to come in here, like a Bill O'Brien, which I wouldn't be opposed to Bill O'Brien coming in as an offensive coordinator, possibly. You know, he's a good offensive mind. Trash GM and trash head coach, good offensive coordinator. I wouldn't be mad at something like that. Personally, I'm happy with Joe Brady as of now. There's been 2 games, not a big sample size. Show me what you got the rest of the year on the offensive side, and maybe you look at promoting Joe Brady to full-time OC, or if you want to fire McDermott, you make him the head coach, whatever. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the Buffalo Bills will get rid of Sean McDermott this year. I don't think he'll be the guy. Once again, I believe he's going to be given that opportunity to make the necessary adjustments and get rid of the people who he think he needs to get rid of in terms of off-season internal changes with the offense or the defensive side of the ball, and he will get that opportunity to come back. But I think next year the seat would be hotter for Sean McDermott as opposed to this year.
Yeah, you get 1 or 2 bad years in your career and you're fired. That's it. You get one or two, right? 2018 was one. You had an excuse. You had no cap room, so you brought in guys like Levi Wallace and stuff like that. Now, if I'm Sean McDermott, and let's say Joe Brady works out the rest of the year, Bill's putting up 30 points per game average. You say you're my new OC. I go out there into the market and look at defensive head coaches who are probably going to get fired after this season. There's a few names out there, like a Ron Rivera, like Todd Bowles may be out of a job in Tampa after this year. Guys like that excite me as a defensive coach to come in here and take over the defense. So that way Sean McDermott can focus on the things he's had to focus before, which was being a head coach and not a defensive coordinator, right? We were all excited about Sean McDermott being a defensive coordinator. Half of us were. The other half was like, too much on his plate. Could it be that he had too much on his plate and that he really needs to have somebody run his defense for him? Or do you think that the scapegoat was Leslie Frazier and now he has to eat that? Or both.
I mean, listen, anything's possible in terms of off-season. Anything can happen. If the right guy is available that share the same ideologies on the defensive side of the ball that Sean McDermott has, I think it's definitely possible, especially if he has a strong resume. Yeah. Todd Bowles, I believe, is more of a 3-4 guy. I don't think they're going to just shift the entire defense, but I think so. But I do.
Tampa runs a 3-4.
I think he does. I think Tampa does run a 3-4. You can check it. But I do think if I'm wrong, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure, but I do think he wants to stay on that style defense. And if the right guy comes and the right guy opens up, then I think he's open to anything. I don't think right now Joe Brady would be the answer as head coach. It's just too much unknown about Joe Brady. He's young. And it's like hiring Ken Dorsey all over again, but at a higher level. So. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason depending on what happens for the rest of the season.
How old was McVay when he got hired as head coach?
McVay was young. He was
like mid to early 30s too, I think.
Yeah.
He's like 43 now, I think.
Yeah. I think that McVay is a special guy, and I think they had different ways of coming into the NFL. I think Sean McVay was having success, even though he was young. He was having a lot of success as a coordinator while he was in the NFL. So because he had that success, I think it definitely helped him out as opposed to Joe Brady. He had a lot of success with the LSU Tigers, but his actual coaching title was passing game coordinator. Yeah. It wasn't like he was the all-out offensive coordinator. So that kind of mutters things a bit. And then he went to Carolina, and he could have been scapegoated there. We don't know, but they didn't have success. So I think their journeys are definitely a bit different, but both young coaches. And I think Joe Brady is, I don't think he looked at it as a failure with Carolina. It's a lesson. Sometimes you have to take this step back and to get forward and prosper. And now he has the opportunity to do so with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And even in a loss, they put up 34 points. So Joe Brady, we can't look to Joe Brady and say, even though, again, I think the offense should have scored a touchdown in overtime, communication issues, whatever. But Joe Brady was not the problem in this loss today against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. What was that question you asked again?
Say it again.
What was the last part of what you said again? I missed the last part.
Oh, I've been saying a lot, Izzy. I've been saying a lot. I apologize.
It was about Joe Brady and the offense and how they should have scored a touchdown, but they didn't. But you can't necessarily put it on the offense and Joe Brady.
Right.
Basically, the gist of it.
Something, yeah. Gist of it, okay. Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. You can't put this necessarily on Joe Brady. This team, this game. The offensive woes today were mostly, missteps by the players, unable to execute the game plan necessarily. Josh Allen throwing an interception. That's not on Joe Brady. Mm-hmm. Gabe Davis making the wrong read there at the end of that drive in overtime that led us to us kicking a field goal instead of getting a touchdown. That's not Joe Brady. That's Josh and Gabe. There was a lot of stuff that happened in this game that you could try and blame on somebody or another, but Joe Brady is one of the last people. He's low on the totem pole of people I would blame for this loss today. Very low on the totem pole. And so when I say Joe Brady is somebody that they may look at to be the head coach, they may be looking for a young, offensive-minded guy who showed some promise, which at LSU he did, and right now in Buffalo he is too, with a balanced offense that's playing very well and putting up points. And so that's all McVay did when he was with the Washington Redskins at the time before he went to the LA Rams. Not to mention the energy that person brings to the team to energize and give some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Some esprit de corps, like a teamwork type deal, a faith in each other that Brady seems to have brought back to this offense that wasn't there when Dorsey was here. They didn't seem to trust each other when Dorsey was here. They didn't seem to have that type of togetherness, and now they seem to. They seem to have that difference, and so they could be looking for a hotshot OC who then becomes the head coach. Very possible this year again. I don't think McDermott's getting fired this year, and I did see a comment. I said no other to where is it? No good, strong-minded defensive coordinators coming to Buffalo to work under McDermott after Frazier, and I asked them why through text. They said McDermott's a control freak. I have zero evidence to prove that, and if you have some, please deliver it because I have not seen any of that. I've seen fans claim that, but I have not heard anything or seen anything to prove that. I mean, evidence to support that McDermott is a control freak. That seems to be an opinion of many. Also, if it was like a Ron Rivera type guy who has worked with McDermott in the past, he's going to know exactly what to expect when he comes here. He's going to know exactly what he's dealing with. So somebody like that, I would be totally open to Sean McDermott bringing in because he knows the scheme already, and he can take that duty away from Sean McDermott so he can focus on the duties of a head coach fully. So there's a lot of things that fans kind of bring in, and I'm a fan too, but I tend to try and stay away from that type of thing where I'm like, I think this guy's a control freak and I have nothing to back it up. If I'm claiming something, there's some sort of evidence that backs that up. And I got one here that says, I bet Frazier do better than McDermott. I doubt it because I watched him in Minnesota and it was garbage. So no. I'm not with that. But
I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Off season is going to tell a lot. We don't know who may or may not be available in the off season. I personally wouldn't want Ron Rivera running my defense. Me personally, I mean, they might know each other. They may be decent. Me personally, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I just haven't. I think Ron Rivera is an overrated head coach. I think he's always been a tad overrated in my opinion.
He wouldn't be a head coach. He'd be a defensive coordinator here.
Yeah, but what defense have Ron Rivera had where you could say, well, he did that Washington Commanders defense, they did a hell of a job over there.
He's not the defensive coordinator. He's the head coach there.
I know, but give me an example where we can say that about a team he's coached defensively.
The 2015 Panthers, I guess. I don't know. They were 15-1. They went to the Super Bowl.
I rather get me a guy. The Jets are probably about to clean house. Get me Robert Saleh or Jeff Ergic or one of those guys over there that I've seen recently successful.
You think the Jets need to clean house?
If the Jets, who knows? They might keep it. Keep them around another year because of Aaron Rodgers. But I'm just
that's 3 bad years though. They're breaking my rules.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
they're breaking the rules, baby.
So, but I think there's a lot of things that that may happen that can dictate who or what Sean McDermott does this offseason as continuing to make the defensive play calls as a defensive coordinator / head coach.
Yeah, I'm mostly with you. I'm throwing names out there who I do like. I do like Ron Rivera. Let's go Jim Harbaugh then. He's going to the Patriots, and we all know it. Stop it. He's going to when the Patriots and Bill Belichick mutually part ways after the season. The cheaters going to the cheaters. That's what's going to happen. That's just how it works. and I have no evidence to back that up. I'm just making a fan statement. But I don't know.
I think
We covered a lot tonight, man.
we did, man.
Schools and shit. Jesus. But yeah, I think this offseason, some things need to change, and that includes Sean McDermott no longer being the defensive coordinator of this team. Clearly, Sean, the experiment failed. You are not cut out to be a head coach and defensive coordinator. You've been a fine offensive coach before, defensive coordinator before. You've been a fine head coach at times. Those two things together? No, sir. Sorry, but no. To me, that's the end of that experiment. Sean, you need to get yourself a defensive coordinator. I don't care who it is, as long as they can work with you. But next year, if you shit the bed again, bye. But this year's not over yet, so the bed is not fully pooped yet. It's just not. It's not fully. But
I mean,
if you lose,
and again, with everything, opportunities, everything, everything is about timing as well, right? It's real sticky to say. And again, I do believe that Sean McDermott is going to get another opportunity. But this year, it may be an impressive list of offensive candidates as head coaches. Detroit Lions head coach, offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson.
I like
you
him.
have Houston Texans offensive coordinator. I think he's going to get a lot of looks, and
they would be heartbroken if he leaves.
What if the Buffalo Bills are successful and then they indeed have to move on from Sean McDermott? Is the coaching pool going to be as good as potentially this year? Right? It's kind of like a draft where you have a top pick, but is the quarterback class good? So I think timing is everything. So we'll see what happens next year when we get there with Sean McDermott and his future. But I'm hoping that he finds a way to sustain some success he got in the past and get back into Super Bowl contention sooner rather than later, even if it's not this year.
That's a very good question you posed there, saying that is there going to be another coaching class that is as good as this year's? Because we feel this way every year about coordinators who are coming up to become head coaches. We do. I love Ben Johnson, as a potential replacement if they were to fire McDermott. Ben Johnson's one guy I've been saying, look, Patriots, if you guys part ways with Bill Belichick, that's the guy that you should probably go after. And a bunch of Patriots fans are like, yeah, we agree. I was like, he's one of those guys that, like, they're the Lions. They're 8-3 right now, and like, how do you argue against that guy? That guy's doing wonders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got Jared Goff looking like Super Bowl Jared Goff again.
And people have the nerve to call them frauds at 8-3. Listen, I would love to be 8-3 frauds. I would love to be 8-3 and be frauds right now.
Yo,
I would love it.
Yo, oh yeah, when you lost to the Packers. Okay, yeah, they beat the fucking Chiefs. They beat the Chiefs. Like, stop it. Like, the other shoe has to fall at one point in time. Like, they beat the Chiefs. The Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Granted, not the same Chiefs as they were last year, but they still beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, stop the cap on this nonsense, right? If a team is 8-3, and at this point in time, as of right now, I'm gonna have to give the Dolphins their flowers, unfortunately, because they're 8-3 right now too.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a very soft schedule, and their 3 are against the only winning teams that they've played all year.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're 500, so take that for what it is. Yeah, like, I'll like you said, I'll take 8-3 frauds all day, every day. But again, the regular season is what? Meaningless unless you can do it in the playoffs. And so, would if we went, what is it, 11-6? So let's say we win the next 5 games, and we make the AFC Championship game, we lose there. Is 2021 still the season where we peaked?
I mean, hey, things change when things change. When things change.
It is what it is. You sound like Max Holloway right now. I don't know if you know who Max Holloway is.
I heard of him.
Yep. He's a former UFC featherweight champ. But yeah, man, like there will be more to discuss after the next game. as of right now, we're in purgatory because the bye week's coming up. We're undefeated after the bye, so let's ride that wave as much as we can. Bills fans, I saw my man Mosley also in the comments say, love you guys. You guys are my brothers. Hey, we love you too. We love all of y'all guys, even the haters, but it is what it is, man. We're here to enjoy our team. We're here to give our honest opinions. Me and Rich don't always agree. I'd say we agree about 50 to 60% of the time. We agree. And sometimes I'm wrong and sometimes he's wrong. And it is what it is. But at least we both know that we take this very serious and we go in with an educated opinion on it. And with the data that we get, we just, have our opinions after that. So you can take the facts and then bend them at your leisure once you have them. You don't get to bend them before you have them. And so that's where he and I lay. And when it comes to post games, that's why this post game show is one of the best in my opinion, because we have two guys who see the game through the same lenses and come up with, on occasion, different opinions on it. Now, if we blew the Eagles out like we should have, we'd probably be out here like, woo, 30-minute show. But we went for an hour and 30 because it's a lot to freaking talk about. So, guys, we're going to end the show here in just a minute. Akeem, if you got something else to say or bring up, holler at your boy. But otherwise, we are donezo.
No, man, I think we covered a lot today. Another disappointing loss in disappointing fashion. If we could be, producers of 1,000 ways to lose, kind of like 1,000 ways to die, the Buffalo Bills would be on like 956 of those episodes. That's just how I feel. Like we lost like that to Hail Murray. We lost today. How we lost? We lost on 13 seconds, wide right, Music City Miracle. It's just like it's just the losses and the ways to lose is like I thought we thought of everything.
Dude, you know that meme? Dumb ways to die. That's it.
And lo and behold, we find another way. But once again, we still, to some capacity, control our own destiny if we can win out. If we go 11-6, 5 games in a row, it's a high chance that the Buffalo Bills are going to make the playoffs. But our backs are definitely against the wall, and this schedule is definitely a lot tougher than what it was in the beginning of the season. But I do have faith of our Buffalo Bills. We do have some things to hang our hat on. The Buffalo Bills offense have scored 30+ points in back-to-back games. The defense at times look like it can do some good things. We would like to see them do those good things for 60 minutes, but they've shown flashes. So if we can put these things together and play better, sound, fundamental football, less mistakes. If Josh Allen can stop giving the football away, let 8 games be your high. Let's not go into 9 straight games and 10 straight games with an interception. Let's not get more interception this game, right? If we can do things to protect ourselves, we will put ourselves in better positions to win. So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Redzone Report, post-game live, and continue. I know it's hard, but do not get off the bus, because we're going to continue to drive this bus. Izzy, go Bills.
Last point here. You said our backs against the wall. When you corner an injured animal, that's when they're the most dangerous. So Bills fans, don't quit on the team yet. Until it's double zeros, don't quit on the team yet. Let's go Bills. We'll see y'all next. Well, I'll see y'all next week, because the next week is not a post game, so it's just me. Maybe I'll have a guest, maybe I won't. We'll see. But yeah, when you corner an injured animal, they're the most dangerous. And you know what? That makes the Bills very, very dangerous. So let's go Bills. God bless everybody. Try to enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week. It's late already, so the weekend's almost over. Go Bills.
Go Bills.